country, and I'm going to advocate for having America run my way. I'm not denouncing you. Go run a different country your way, but I want America run my.
Yeah. I understand you want your America run. I'm just saying that you seem to be not different from other people who want the government to treat a certain sector of population differently, say according to their skin color, you just according to their IQ, and somebody else want to have better treatment, special treatment for, let's say, sexes and genders. So you're not any different from other people.
Well, I think I am different in that my views lead to a more even income distribution, a more even wealth distribution, and a more even distribution.
So now you're going for communism. So now you're going for socialism, communism.
No, I don't consider myself a communist. I'm saying I want an America.
Well, you said distribution. Yeah, distribution.
Yeah, okay,
you just said redistribution of wealth.
Yeah, okay. Hanson, you got me.
By government coercion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going for communism.
No, it's not communism. That's not true.
You're exposed. You're exposed.
Yeah, no, I'm not going for communism at all because I don't believe in giving welfare to people who don't work. What I'm advocating for, Hanson, is an America where every single person who's born with a low IQ can get a good, decently paying job. And the government doesn't have to pay welfare to create that. The government doesn't have to interfere in the labor market. The government doesn't have to set rent controls. The government of America only has to do one simple, easy thing. In order to give low IQ Americans a good standard of living, the only thing you have to do is militarize the border and forbid unskilled foreigners from ever coming in.
That's the only thing the U.S. government has to do, and everybody's problems are fixed. Holy shit. Way to fucking go. I mean, dude, you just figured it out.
Wait a second. I mean, I'm still going.
You're not answering. This is like two retarded people trying to butt fuck each other. This is getting ridiculous.
Okay.
Stewie, I have your question, Stewie.
Yeah.
Stewie, let me ask you a quick question.
I mean, I'm not done interrogating yet.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, saying that just get back to my previous. So you want the government to use gun weapons to treat, to get a better treatment for one sector of the society, and then your ultimate goal is to redistribute the wealth. So how's your belief from communism? I mean, I didn't hear an answer.
I'll answer you. Okay, I'll answer you. I don't believe the government should own any businesses. I don't think the government should have any say in businesses. I want all businesses. Please let me finish.
Well, you just said.
Why don't you let me finish, Hanson?
Okay,
Just let me
fine. Go ahead.
I want all businesses owned by greedy capitalists. I don't want the government to be involved in business at all. So I'm not a communist.
Stewie,
well,
I don't think.
Wait
let me just answer.
How is that different? So you interfere in the running of the business, and to dictate how the business should be run.
Hanson, you're hogging the mic. Let the other people speak. That's others. I'll stay silent. Hanson, let some other people speak.
Outright owning a business. Outright owning, but halfway owning a business.
Hanson, let other people speak.
Stewie, I don't think you're a communist, Stewie.
Communism, right?
Hanson, will you shut up and let someone else speak respectfully?
No, I'm not interrogating you yet. So
the other people in the room want to speak. You're hogging the mic. Let other people.
I'm posing a question and you're not answering.
Hanson, let other people interrogate the issue.
Evading.
No, I'm not evading. I'm trying to be polite. I think you're being a mic and I'm being polite. Altruistic to the people in the room, and you're being a pig.
And say,
I'm not a moderator. Why doesn't some other moderator moderate this fucking room? I'm not willing to be a moderator. Let another moderator moderate.
Let me ask you a question. Dewey, I don't think you're a communist. I think the answer to the problem, you want to call them low IQ Americans, but really we're making low IQ Americans. The education system in America is pathetic, and that has to be that has to be corrected rapidly for us to produce intelligent people, low IQ people who want to work. You know, there's so many jobs out there. And would you agree with me that?
I agree with you. I think you're a good person, but you're wrong, because IQ is genetic in origin. So, Jules, when you sit here and say, oh, if only we improve the schools, people will have higher IQ, that's a retarded, moronic, stupid thing. You have such a good heart, but you're lying to yourself, because IQ is genetic.
Wait.
And because IQ is based on DNA. Please let me finish, Jules. I didn't interrupt you.
I'm not interrupting. I'm not
Just
interrupting.
let me finish what I'm saying, because I'm treating you with respect. Okay? Because
you didn't answer my question. You're evading my question.
Let's answer my question.
I'm trying to answer Jules' question, okay? So first of all, Jules, no. IQ is genetic, so it doesn't matter how fucking good the schools are. Please let me finish. It doesn't matter, Jules. It doesn't matter how good the schools are. You're living in a fantasy world where schools can produce high IQ people. I'm done.
You're in the Matrix, Stewie.
Okay, Jules, I respectfully say you're living in a fantasy world, because it doesn't matter how good the schools are, we're still going to have people who have no intelligence.
Well, you know, you're wrong, because in New York City here, nobody goes to school. I mean, the people who passed the math regents were like 2%, you know, and we could do much, much better than that. There's low IQ and there's not even trying. That's what I'm saying, Stewie.
Great. So
And you're not a communist.
Question. I think I respect you very much, Jules. Let someone else ask a question, and someone else should moderate this room aggressively. I'm not fucking willing to moderate.
No, I respect you too, Stewie.
Are you done? Are you done?
No, just let me say one last thing to Stewie. I respect you too, and I think Stewie makes a lot of sense. Stewie, am I wrong in saying you're an American first person, and that's where a lot of your responses come from?
Not only am I America first, I'm America only, and not only am I America first, my loyalty is to Americans who are born with low intelligence. And that makes me very, very different, because almost no one on Clubhouse has really worries about the interests of low intelligence Americans. Leftists on Clubhouse want to flood America with millions of foreigners to compete with them and hurt low-income Americans. So obviously leftists don't give a fuck about low IQ Americans. And all Republicans I've ever met in the traditional Republican Party, they also don't give a fuck. Because Republicans, the George Bush wing of the Republican Party, has always been about fucking low IQ Americans. There's very, very, very little constituency in the leadership class of America fighting for the interests of American citizens born with low IQ. And that's the only group I feel loyalty to. I'm done speaking.
Stewie, I agree with you 100%, but I'm adding that there are people with maybe not low IQ, with normal IQ, a little below normal IQ, that have to be educated. That's all I'm saying. America first is great. I agree with you. I agree with you. Keep government out and let Americans first. I see nothing wrong with
I urge you to
that.
go visit some prisons, because many of the men in prison, this is very important, many of the men in prison are not bad guys. They're just guys who were born with very, very low IQ, and they couldn't get a job, and they became criminals because they couldn't get a job. So in my opinion, you're welcome to go visit the fucking prisons and see for yourself. The people who are
80% of people
Why
in
don't you let me
prison
finish?
are foster care. They come from abusive backgrounds. It has nothing to do with intellect. 70% of prisoners were in the foster care system, and it's more of a mental thing than it is an intellectual thing. You were wrong.
The people who are letting low IQ foreigners come to America, not only are you screwing, not only every single person in this room that lets low IQ foreigners in, not only are you screwing your fellow American citizens, but you are causing a lot of the crime, right? When you let low IQ foreigners in, you make it so that low IQ Americans can't get jobs, and then they become criminals. So fucking shame on you. You want to let low IQ foreigners in. I'm done. And as usual, with all the shit I spout off, so people can message born with low IQ wind up going to prison. And if you want proof that letting in millions of low IQ foreigners pushes down wages of low IQ Americans, I have ample receipts. And shame on you if you don't open your mind to the
Stewie, I agree also that the needs of America are high IQ people in technology and other medical or whatever industries demand high IQ people. Those should be priority. They should be prioritized over low income people. It's nice and compassionate to let, no, I said low income, low IQ people. It's nice and compassionate to let low IQ people in, but the needs of America do come first, and that I agree with you, Stu.
And I just posted in the room chat the Pew study that shows hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of very, very, very low to move to America and compete for jobs with low IQ Americans. So this is not a theoretical thing. Unless we have a heavily militarized border, we get hundreds of millions of low IQ immigrants who fuck low IQ Americans badly. Read the link. If anyone thinks I'm exaggerating, read the link, because we're looking at an apocalyptic crisis for low IQ Americans. I also posted links that prove when boys are born with very, very low IQ, a huge percentage of them wind up in prison. They've done ample studies of the men who are in prison, and it's not even in dispute, even by the most liberal, leftist, lying, retarded, communist. There's no dispute among any scholars that boys born with low IQ have a hard time getting a job, and then they wind up in prison.
I must have a low IQ because I've been to prison.
That's a fallacy. If you know of one super high IQ prisoner, it's literally retarded to claim that that means all prisoners are not low IQ. It's hard to believe you'd even make such a retarded.
Well, he did say it was low IQ, so you need to make that.
Very hard for me to pick up on who's sincere and who's troll.
But Stewie, there are people with high IQs that go to prison because they think they're too smart. The crypto people.
Did Bernie Madoff go to prison?
Yeah, Bernie Madoff.
Wasn't he smart?
Yeah, of course. That's why you need prison. You even if
But he's low IQ though, because he went to prison, right?
Even really easy for people to get jobs, there's still going to be scumbags who go to prison. What I'm saying is, if it was easy for low IQ people to get jobs, we would have fewer prisoners, not zero. We'd have.
So you think lower IQ people can't get jobs?
Yes, that is my contention. In many parts of America, men with very low IQ cannot get jobs.
Interesting.
What do you consider?
Places. I've driven across America many times. I've visited these places where low IQ. There's an unemployment rate, and whenever there's even a little bit of unemployment, capitalists, business owners will choose the better workers. If you are inherently a shittier worker, you're the last hired and first fired. So businesses will not the lowest IQ men unless there's a labor shortage.
Do you think we sit around when we hire people and ask them what their IQ points are based on some test that you have in your head?
No, but job performance is tightly correlated. In fact, job performance is so tightly correlated to IQ that the military, and anyone can Google this, the military tried accepting low IQ soldiers, and they accidentally killed so many people that the military banned them. And in fact, and you could fucking Google this, the military has a policy, if your IQ test score is lower than 83, you cannot be accepted into any role in the military, because men with IQs under 83 make so many stupid fucking boneheaded decisions. They kill people. Now, Brad, you may not like that, but if you fucking Google it, you'll see it. 83 is the cutoff. Google it, my friend.
I mean, I'm aware of the ASVAB, ASVAB passes a certain percentage point. That does deal with IQ, some baseline intelligence. If you can spell your name, add 2 plus 2. You know, can you insert a triangle into a hole? Things like that. Basically, you get 30 points just for writing your name on the fucking test. So it's not really hard. And you know what? I've met a lot of dumbass fucking people in the military in my life. In my career, and even on this app, I've met some of the stupidest motherfuckers that were carrying guns, driving tanks, driving ships, driving nuclear submarines, driving fucking nuclear ships, operating operating missile batteries, whole host of that shit. They're on this app. And a lot of them are dumb, or what you would deem dumb as fuck. And I wouldn't trust them to use a garden hose correctly. But somehow or another, they managed to get through the ASVAB.
That's where you're only partially right. So the military has records of people using heavy equipment who were born with high IQ and people born with low IQ. And what the records show very clearly is people who are born with below average IQ, they crash the trucks more. They crash the ships more. They accidentally blow us shit up. So now people in the military may not want to hear this, but the fact of the matter is that on average, when the military accepts someone with an IQ test score of 95, they make a lot more fucking boneheaded mistakes than when they accept someone with 105. Now, that is not comfortable to people to know, but your performance in the U.S. military in most tasks does depend on your IQ being above 83. And if it's not above 83, it's been proven for 50 years. They have 50 fucking motherfucking years of data. If they accept someone under 83, they fuck up. They accidentally kill their fellow soldiers. So, Brad, IQ does matter, respectfully. It matters in the private sector. It also matters in the military. Respect.
What IQ test are you referring to that we took when we enlisted?
It's called the Armed Forces Qualifying Test, and it's exactly correlated to the standard IQ test.
I know you may not have the IQ to actually handle what goes on in the military.
Yeah, but Brad, you're in denial. You're not comfortable with the fact that when a human being takes an IQ test, it often predicts their performance in life. You don't like that. You don't like that fact, so you argue against it, even though in your heart you know it's true.
You guys are talking, if I can break in here, you guys are talking about two different kinds of tests.
No, we're not. It's the same.
Well, can I just make a quick point and then you can rebut it? Because the IQ test is a skills test. It's an innate skills test, and most tests, and I don't know what the ASVAB is, so I can't really speak on it, but like if it's anything like any kind of college entrance like SAT or the ACT, those are what's called aptitude. So skill and aptitude tests are different things. So, your IQ won't change much over time because it's an innate skill. It's a different kind of test. And like the other tests, as far as I know, are aptitude. So I'm assuming the ASVAB is somewhat of an aptitude test for the military.
Okay.
To judge how they will perform in the military. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm trying to help you guys have a point of, to build a bridge to both.
Okay, to that point, we can build a bridge on the idea that the reality that I just looked up says that the ASVAB is based on an average IQ level of 85. So IQ 85 is the average level. In the past, the military did test IQ, and they tried to accept as low as 80, but in those cases, the men could not master soldiering well enough to justify their costs. So the ASVAB was based on 85, so the 10% level scoring on ASVAB is relatively equivalent to an 85 level IQ. And if you are above the bottom 10%, you can get accepted of the ASVAB. But if you don't have a high school diploma, then you have to be above the bottom 30% of the ASVAB to get accepted. The 30th percentile on the ASVAB indicates an approximate IQ of 93. The 10th percentile indicates an approximate IQ of 81.
Thanks for shedding light on that, man. I appreciate it, because I guess military would have different needs, and I guess there could be an argument made too that the military wouldn't mind having people that are somewhat lower IQ, because it might make a better, rule follower, maybe. I don't know. Just poking around. I think
it would be called cannon fodder.
I do think it's interesting, though, to understand that the ASVAB is correlated with actual IQ. I think that's actually kind of interesting. I don't even think something like the SAT is necessarily correlated with IQ. I think it's a different way of measuring.
Well, I'm led to believe that I'm going to throw a name at you guys, Yogi Berra. Everybody suspected that he has a low IQ, and look what he did in his life. Plus, look what he did in the military. What do you say about that? I think it's what's in a person's heart, in a person's soul, in a person's ability to compete. That's not IQ. You're just looking at one rating. Yes, it's important. It can be in certain jobs, for sure. But there are people in America that have made it. And Yogi's a military hero. He stormed Normandy. He was, I don't have to tell you what a great player he was. He's a Hall of Famer. And so we don't let immigrants come in if they don't have intelligence, if they don't have a high IQ. So you're letting go the Yogi Berras of America history. And that I don't think that's right.
Okay, baseball players will let in if they have low IQs.
Well, it's not only baseball players.
Why do you think he has a low IQ?
Okay, I wouldn't think Yogi Berra had a high IQ.
I mean, some of his comments had some some of them sound contradictory, but there's some pretty deep thoughts, and he's famous for some witty lines. He managed a team which was campaign. I don't know why you think it. I tested him on those IQs. I just don't know where he got it.
This is interesting. So when the military experimented with low IQ acceptees in Vietnam War, they found that the low IQ cohorts routinely struggled to point and aim a rifle, throw a grenade, and tie their boots.
The problem with that study, though, is it was during a time frame when there was a draft going on. So you have to kind of look at who was going through there. Also, you had pot and heroin flowing through the ranks pretty heavily. And from my understanding, if you're under the influence, you're not throwing a grenade or being able to actually function in your daily life, let alone an extreme environment such as the military.
Well, the real chisel on everything is, there are people smarter in other areas, that some people don't realize, and they judge people upon people not knowing. And so it's one of those things where, like I'm smart with computers, I'm smart with programming, but maybe you're not. And maybe when I talk to you, we can't really communicate because you don't know what I know, and maybe I don't know what you know. So it's one of those things. And so that's where the common ground comes into play. And that's when we talk about what we know and all that stuff, just so that we can, come up with some kind of a way to communicate in a way that's good for both of us, rather than judging others on what you know and what that person knows, or whatever. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so Jordan Peterson apparently has something on YouTube called The Most Terrifying IQ Statistic. And in it, he argues with somebody who about the point of 83 IQ. This person says that surely with time and money, anyone in society can be a benefit to themselves and society. But Jordan Peterson is adamant. He says it cannot be done, and therefore the bottom 10% of the population serve no useful function.
Well, we're talking survival skills, right? I mean, that's what we're equating IQ to survival skills. Am I right about that, or do you think it's something?
Yeah. I think it's beyond that. I think it's also benefit to society, whether or not you benefit those around you, or you're just a burden, purely a burden. That's how I read it.
Right. There are people with high IQs that are burdens too. I mean, it's just. It could be mental disorders, but you could have an high IQ with a mental disorder.
The point is
burdens of society.
Yeah, I think the point is, if there is 10%, if it's pretty well recognized that exists, then do we have a solution for the 10%, other than to just ignore them like we apparently do most of the time? What do we do with them? Do we put any resources to them?
But if you're looking at the lowest 10% of society, is that by status, or if you're going to solely base it on IQ, how are you going to measure IQ? Because
I know it's hard. You can't pinpoint
you can't do that. You can't measure it. I can literally take every one of you in this room. Let's say there's one other person, and I could put you in the wilderness and say, all right, here you go. You've got 10 days to survive here, and all of you would be dead. You got another person.
Brad.
I dig my own.
But I literally couldn't do it. Like somebody can't even figure out how to navigate across. Jules, hold the fuck on. So you couldn't figure out how to navigate across town without your iPhone or your Google phone and figuring out your maps. Some of you can't even get out of a fucking grocery store. So I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know who's more dependent or who's more useful based on an IQ test.
And I do agree with you, Brad, that the problem is identifying. I mean, how do you pinpoint the 10%? The fact that 10% exists, how do you separate them? How do you find a method that everybody agrees on to identify them? If you can't, then it's irrelevant, I guess.
Brad brought up a great point, about cell phone and shit like that. We are creating people that are less, that can't survive without these little gadgets or whatever. Surviving skills are gone. You're right about that, Brad. That's a great point. We basic skills in math and reading and common sense is common sense, but we're avoiding those skills. People can't write a book report. People can't read a book anymore. This is what I go back to my education. We got to educate people for surviving skills.
Well, yeah, Jules, I wonder that from the written standpoint. So I think about how accepted it is now that people, because of texting and things like that, people got to the point where I run into people on a regular basis who are younger than me, who they'll be forced to write something, and it's like run-on sentences with no punctuation. They literally don't understand how to write. And then it seems like, okay, that doesn't mean they're low IQ necessarily, but what impact does that have on a society that doesn't value the importance of learning grammar and the importance of actual sentence structure and written form that doesn't have to be all abbreviated in text. And what are we doing to eliminate the need for critical thinking when we have this internet full of every single idea that out there from every spectrum, that you can find one that you agree with, and that's the one you can stick to. So why bother to critical think if somebody's going to tell you you're right every single time, depending on where you look? It's problematic.
So it goes further than that, Mike. There was a couple articles last week that just came out about the lowering of standards in the Ivy Leagues. It's to the point now where like freshman and sophomore Ivy League, I think it was English and English lit classes are no longer establishing full-length books, like reading them and actually discussing them and writing articles on them as a baseline for being an English major, because they said too few students will even read a full book anymore. Like there are interviews with professors who said, I don't bother giving out books because my students will read 20 pages and then they just get bored and walk away. So this goes a lot deeper than that.
Yeah, and my question is, you could argue that, okay, well, maybe that this goes on as necessary. We don't do as much writing anymore. We're going to have text-to-speech everywhere eventually. Robots will be working. You can make all those arguments, but the question is that a vital form of developing the human brain to understand how those things are formed at a young age, so that you can, I mean, does it represent the ability to learn other things as well? You know what I mean?
Well, so here's what I'll say when it comes to like the automated writing thing. I'm a full-time grant writer and manager for a state agency. I have not run across a single AI program that can do my job better than me. And I know dozens of people who are in state agencies. We've all tried out like ChatGPT, generative AI programs. They're shit. It's absolute garbage. It produces streams of garbage, and half the time it produces phantom citations that if I put it into a grant application, the feds will come back at me and say, where the hell did this come from? We're not giving you your grant, and by the way, this is fraudulent.
You're the second attorney that I've heard say this. I have a friend who does entertainment law, and I was kind of just joking. And he said, no. He said, there's no way. I can't even be a paralegal yet. But that's what they boasted for a while, is that these large learning models, or I don't know what the LLMs, they would be able to do anything, like even be a paralegal. And he says it's just not the case. So it's interesting to hear your perspective.
So I'm not a lawyer. I'm an administrator and a grants manager and a manager for a state agency. But I mean, I've tried them out. I've given them full writing prompts. I've given it like bullet points of this is what you must cover. This is how you have to present the argument. And when you get to that point, it's like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to do it myself then. If I have to go through this much trouble to get this stupid language model to produce what it's less time for me to just like write out paragraphs and get it done with. But the challenge is like, my wife's a teacher, and she was a English teacher for years and years with a state agent or with a school board. And you know, one of the basic problems is that people just don't read to their kids as much anymore. So kids don't have the sort of grounding in books and seeing these as being part of the answer for getting out of their crappy lives is picking up a book, because people toss their 2-year-olds phones at this point. So, you know, we're skewing kids' developmental approaches. We're skewing how they develop language. And we're no longer valuing writing. So at some point, yeah, we're all going to it's going to turn into idiocracy if we keep going down this route.
You know, I'm hearing horse and buggy drivers, you know, at when the car was invented. This is what it sounds like on stage right there.
Yeah, except Anthony, stick on this point really fast without changing to that. I got 2 kids in high school. One of them's an advanced English course, and one of them's in regular English. The regular English course is literally graded by AI. The teacher told me that she doesn't read them. She scans them into a program that the district uses that grades the papers based on what they say, and the score is fixable. Like my daughter, who's in advanced English, they get a little more actual attention of their teachers reading their work. But either way, she sometimes operates under the other program grading guidelines, and she's already figured out how to game the system by writing a certain number of sentences per paragraph and things, that if you don't get to that number, then it rates you lower. So it becomes a gaming mechanism that the students develop and understand, and the entire school district is doing this. The teachers are not reading their papers.
So, Mike, let me respond very briefly.
I
actually, Mike cut me off.
Oh, go ahead, Anthony. Please go ahead.
Can you talk about this topic, Anthony? That's like
Mike, you made an assumption. All right, it's on the topic, Mike.
You got it.
You made an assumption.
Go for it. Go for it.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it. So my son, he's a computer programmer, and he uses AI all the time. It's a really helpful tool. You know, the genie's out of the bottle, and it's not going back in. And if we were to like look at AI as a continuum, it's still in its infancy. It's still brand spanking new. It's gonna get better and better and better. The more information it gets, the better it's gonna get. So we can either, you know, get used to it, or we can get left behind. Those are the options.
Okay, so not only do I, please let me speak. Not only do I agree with Anthony, I'm literally pounding the table with both fists that Anthony is correct. And I travel all over America visiting my investments. A lot of my investments are in robotics, and literally all over America, robots combined with AI are replacing the jobs of unskilled Americans. All over America. And I implore everyone in this room who's in the Boston area, just go to the suburbs of Boston. There's 4 different companies using AI and robots to build houses. And the wonderful thing about that is, once that technology scales up, hardworking Americans will be able to buy a nice house for half as much as they're paying now, all thanks to AI and robots. The other thing is, I remember, and I want to hear from everyone in the room, I remember coming in this fucking room 5 years ago when Clubhouse started and said, hey, I'm working on self-driving cars. In San Francisco and Phoenix, there's going to be self-driving cars. Like, your elderly, shitty driving grandma will never have to drive again. And your teenagers have a track record of running over pedestrians and killing them. Teenagers are going to stop killing pedestrians because we're going to have self-driving cars. And every fucking person, every motherfucking person in Clubhouse said, that's stupid. Cars will never be self-driving. Teenagers will be killing pedestrians forever. And you know what? All the pessimists on Clubhouse are totally wrong. They're totally fucking wrong. In big cities today, the death rate, humans, I'm about to land my fucking plane. Humans are the most shitty, dangerous drivers in the world. Humans kill pedestrians and bicyclists every motherfucking day. So if you're sitting in this room and saying we should ban self-driving cars, you're a fucking murderer and a ghoul because you're responsible for every dead pedestrian. I'm done.
So how does it help my kids that their teacher's not reading their papers and that their children are able to game the system by putting a certain amount of sentences in because the AI looks for certain things? How's that helping them right now?
I'm not in favor of that. I'm not in favor of other shit. I don't give a shit about that. I'm respectfully. I'm saying with respect. I don't give a shit. I'm talking about automation. I'm talking about jobs and automation.
Well, Mike, it doesn't help. You're right. It doesn't help. Some things it helps. Some things it doesn't help. Stewie gave a perfect example of saving lives. Saving lives by not having a crazy person driving a car. Of course that's good. But not letting the mind, as Mike gives an example of not letting the mind develop, not letting the mind create, that's very, very bad. And we have to get better, Anthony.
No, I saw you landed. I'm so sorry, Josie. Pause. Yeah, no, to your point and to Mike's point, as it sits right now, there are young people, possibly as young as Mike's kid's age, that are utilizing artificial intelligence tools to make a living that I would bet is more handsome than the living that Mike makes. So, the God gives, God takes away. It's a matter of how creative, how smart you are with the tools at your disposal. Right now, with AI, in its infancy, you can create content that can garner eyeballs and lead to you getting revenue just off of using AI. Stuff that it would take hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars to create. You can create from whole cloth, just out of, there's people that tell, shorts on TikTok and YouTube shorts and have narratives, and they create these animations, and it's just amazing what you can do.
So you can look at the glass as half full, or you can look at the glass as half empty.
Yeah, not only that, but humans have always, every time there's a new technology, there's some humans who scream and cry and say, oh, we're going to be Luddites, we're going to break the machines, because the machines are going to replace us, we're not going to have jobs. Human beings, it's the natural urge. I don't criticize all the people in this room who don't love AI and robotics as much as I'm not criticizing you. You're human. Maybe you're more human than I am. There's a natural tradition for thousands of years of most humans smashing the machines and most humans wanting to stay the way things are. But I will tell you something. I posted in the room chat, I literally posted in the fucking room chat, proof that removing human drivers in cities and having the cars drive themselves, it saves 36,000 lives. And yet, even with that incontrovertible proof, you don't need to be super smart to read the fucking article I posted. The vast majority of people on Clubhouse are against self-driving cars. Doesn't matter. You can't show people enough proof that it saves lives. People are just old-fashioned and stubborn. That's the fucking reality. Read the link and see free.
So there's no negative to AI, you're saying, Stuart? No negative.
There's no negative to self-driving cars. I'm not giving an opinion on general AI. I'm talking about self-driving cars.
Okay, and maybe I agree with that. But there has to be, what's negative for AI? Come on. I'm not but I know that if people aren't motivated to do things, they don't do things. If things come easy, you lose the thinking capacity. I mean, I'm a textbook case here.
I'm sure you said the same thing about calculators.
Well, you're right. And people can't do arithmetic without
That's civilization. It's not on. That's the great thing. That's what you're missing. And I say this.
No.
Let me answer you. No, let me answer you for a second.
What's my question?
Let me say something and then you can criticize. The people who said introducing calculators means humans will lose the ability to do algebra in their head. Those people were completely right. The pessimists were completely right about calculators. But the thing is, humans found something else to do with their brains, and civilization advanced. And so what I'm saying is, you are correct. When you say AI is going to cause a lot of humans to be lazy, maybe even many humans will be lazy as hell, and their brains will atrophy. So the best of humans will use AI as a tool and do great things the same fucking way Elon Musk has. I'm done.
Yeah, but isn't it worth making a distinction between the role of AI and technology with regard to mathematics, and then on the flip side with regard to the English language or communication? I think that there is something to be said that there should be some sort of shoring up of the language, our own language, and our own communication with each other. It's different than mathematics. I agree with the mathematics. Why wouldn't you take the advantage and skyrocket? But I think there is a danger with the English that's just been brought up here.
Yeah, this is one where I'm going to go with you on this, Eric. So, I mean, Anthony, you're right. Like, programming, that's completely fine. If we can get an AI program to, build C++ programming and do things like that, that's fine, no problem. But I'm just putting out here right now, like, from what I've seen from AI for the written language, for producing written documentation, AI and generative AI is shit. It produces absolute garbage. It churns out like phantom, non-existent citations, and it does it with like absolute certainty when you ask the language model, hey, can you verify this citation and make sure these things are functional? It doesn't know how to go in and dig through an academic citation and say, oh, this isn't real, because it's been fed a bunch of crap from the internet. They shove everything they can through these language models to try to produce the written language. And the problem is that's not how the written language functions. And until they figure out how to make this thing work within the context of linguistic syntax and citations and writing flow, it's just not going to work. So, you automate the hell out of programming all you want, that's fine. But when it comes to the written language and speech and things like that, I'm completely against it. And I think this is one where the school system has a responsibility to encourage kids to pick up books and to continue writing papers, because that's the only way that we pick up the language efficiently.
Yeah, there was a filmmaker. I just saw a filmmaker. Go ahead, Anthony. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
Thank you, Eric. No, Paul, it's really interesting that you say that. I honestly, like, I think the problem that you're in particular, that you're mentioning, grant writing, whatever, I think that, like, an AI scientist of any experience, that would be a trivial issue for them, given the right amount of time for them to overcome. Like, I don't think that this is an insurmountable issue. Like, I think that you'll be surprised at how adaptive this technology is. And I just want to keep stressing, this is like, it's brand new. It's a brave new world that we're in. So, like, don't judge AI by its current iteration. All right, just use your imagination to see what it has the potential to become, of where it can go. Just conceptualize how it learns and ask yourself, given the way it learns, if it has enough of a data set, will it be able to accomplish what I am criticizing it for right now? And I think the answer is quite obvious. Of course it could. It absolutely could. If you just understand how it works, there's no reason it wouldn't be able to do what you're talking about.
Well, that's a really bold claim, because I think at this point what you're starting to knock on the door of is sentience. And there's a filmmaker that I just heard speaking at a panel recently who was talking about the fact that film should be shored up in terms of writing pretty well with the human language, not the AI language, because at this point they can't get a language learning model to pen like a Shakespeare quality type of creation. I mean, mathematically and technologically, Anthony, I think what you're saying is there, but and is probably going to be seen faster. But they even say now that, like, a computer can't write Shakespeare. Like, they can't understand the human experience unless there is sentience. So I think you're making an argument for sentience, and I want to continue to draw the distinction between, mathematical aptitude of the AI and communication aptitude of it. And I don't know, man. How can you write something as good as a human being if you're not sent?
So let's get worse. Can I just say one thing, Anthony? What you guys are talking about is great discussion, but like everything else that was developed, even recently, computers and everything else, it's used for evil. People will use it for evil. AI will be used for evil, to control people, to force people, for whatever evil reason you could think of in your head, to convince people to vote one way. AI will be used for evil. How do we protect that?
All right. So, Jules, not addressing your point, Eric, he kind of addressed me a couple of times, so I'm going to focus on what he said. Eric, like, I don't know if you've seen any of the 60-minute pieces on AI. Literally, like, I think they wrote like a sonnet, like a short form poem. He asked it, and it was awe-inspiring. The just that little bit. You would be hard pressed to argue about this whole human experience and like whatever. And as far as the whole sentient argument is concerned, like, I don't know like how much time you spend looking at this stuff. Human beings are quantum. We are quantum. Our thought processes are quantum. This, as it stands right now, with current technology, I'm not speaking for the future, current technology, it will never achieve sentience. This is, this Terminator and the Matrix and all of that, the fear-mongering, it's not going to happen. It will not achieve sentience.
In that case, it probably shouldn't be grading English papers at this point. That's the argument. And
okay. So Eric, as it relates to the grading of English papers, human beings are going to find a way to game the system. The kids are gaming the system by having the AI write the papers. The teachers are gaming the system by having the AI grade the papers. This shit is hilarious. Like, if I'm that concerned about what my kids are doing, I'm gonna homeschool them. All right, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, if that'll ensure they get the level of education that I would hope that they get.
Well, good.
All right.
Can know when the kids are gaming the system. I know a biology professor. She knows when the fucking kids are taking from ChatGPT and plagiarizing the internet. You know.
Yeah. So what I've done, like as a hiring manager, when I get cover letters that sound like somebody wrote it in an AI program, there's wonderful little tools now on the internet that you can put your papers in and you can put a cover letter in and you can see if this is written by AI or not. And we put in all of our hiring ads, we will not accept cover letters written by artificial intelligence. You send me an AI written paper, I put it through there, and if it's AI written, I kick you right out of consideration and say, no, you did not read the outline of the job listing. Thanks. Next try. Next person.
I hate to bring up the elephant in the room again. Is AI being used in war? Is Russia using AI? I mean, let's look what AI can do things and do things better. Could you do more better? Is this what we want? That's where we're heading. I know you guys don't want to talk about it, but let's face it, that's where we're heading. Making targets easy to hit because of AI, making weapons that could destroy more because of AI. We're human beings. This is what human beings do. We almost fuck up everything that we try. You know, we think we're making something better. Now, let me tell you something. Your telephone calls now are being listened by everybody, whoever wants to. Every check you write out is in the bank, a vault, online somewhere. People go in there. How many phone calls do you get a day trying to steal money from you? How many phony calls? How many calls from another country, another continent, and you don't even know it? Swindlers, AI is going to be used for evil. And sometimes that outweighs all the good stuff. So you write a fucking paper better with AI, big deal. Then they empty your bank account with AI. That's a big deal. So I think we got to figure a way to make AI safe, and I don't think we're going to do that so fast. I end my speech there. Everybody's anxious to look at some positives, but there are great negatives that really have to be taken into consideration. That's the only thing I'm saying. And you guys aren't even looking at that. You just want to drive the car, sit in a car and let it take you where you want to go. Big deal. Other evil wants to blow your car to smithereens in 2 seconds, wherever you are. You know, we got to weigh evil and good. And we don't do that anymore in society. We're too quick to invent stuff.
Yeah, who's training the AI? You know, they're the ones who are deciding what data goes in, and they're deciding what's true and false, right?
That's right. Controlling minds too. Okay, control minds too. You're right. I mean, these guys up on stage have made great points of positive things that AI can do. And that's the future. You're right. Anthony sees the future with AI. And he made some great points. But there are negatives that we got to take into consideration. You know?
There's a word for that. I can't remember. It's been a while. I was so focused on AI a couple of years ago. But who are the big AI critics? I know one, Connor Leahy, and they're saying we can't. The word isn't control. What is it? Does anyone know the word for manage? Does anyone here know that word for that? That the big critics, the ones who are in the industry, say that we're nowhere near being able to word is not control. What is it? Nobody here knows that.
No, it's
That
like
word?
control. It's like to determine. God, I know where you're going.
Yeah. And they're all blowing tooting their horns and blowing. I haven't seen them lately, but it's until we can do that. That's what they said a couple of years ago. They said we need to stop the development right now until we can figure out how to. And I can't get the right word, but it's like control. And that hasn't happened. And I think Kamala was put in charge of that briefly. She brought a bunch of these guys together in the White House. And, some of them were saying we have to even be able to nuke the data centers, and have international agreements with countries that won't, join some international system. And that's just, I haven't heard anything about that since.
Yeah, everything global scares the shit out of me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but the deal is that it's an arms race. AI, they are racing towards sentience. That's what Sam Altman wants for AGI. And the first ones who get there, they're on top of the heap. And so even though they realize the danger of AGI, it's like it is an arms race. They can't afford to let the enemy get there first. And to poo-poo sentience, that's naive, I think. These guys don't believe in God. They're making their own God right now.
Oh, okay. Because it's your opinion? Oh, she couldn't even get the word out, but yet we expect her high intelligence to be truth, huh?
You brought the whole room down. Of course, we're thinking, we're thinking of the negative aspects of this stuff. And look, I've been around a long time. I don't know how long you've been around. Every good invention, it turns into shit because humans want to control humans and countries want to control populations in other countries. And we got to think of that, I like thinking for myself. I don't like all this. I don't like that everybody, hey, look, put in the word underwear on the computer and you're going to get fucking, for the rest of your life, you're going to get stores trying to sell you underwear from other countries, from all over the place. I mean, how the fuck do they know? You put in any disease, you're going to get 100,000 doctors and phonies and quacks and remedies and pills and that you never heard of before. How come? This is AI. This is part of AI. We have no control. This is not the 50s or the 60s anymore. We're dominated by this computer world that knows everything about you. And it's frightening to me. I don't like it.
Hey, Jules, this is Joy. Put me in your queue.
The good solution in the computer, you have to look at 50 million bullshit solutions, do this before you go to sleep and your pain will go away in the morning, right? Bullshit. And that's what the world we're living in, and people don't want to address that.
Hey, I just want to address something that Michaela said a second ago. Jules, can you hear me?
Myself, we brought up some negative aspects of this AI. Yes, it'll make you can sit in a car, it'll take you where you want to go.
Hello, testing.
It's going to take you in other places in life where you don't want to go.
Oh my God, I taped over the mic.
And that's why I'm not thrilled with AI and whatever.
Yeah, and you say costly. The data centers, they're saying how much they're going to require a tremendous amount of electricity. if you look that up, this is not cheap. We're going to probably, they require tremendous, the big data centers. There aren't that many of them in the world, but they require a tremendous amount of electricity to get to where they want to go with the AGI.
Can I address something that Michaela said a second ago?
Yeah.
You said that, America should be competing in this scientific race to try to create sentience. And, just a second before that, you couldn't even remember a word. And you spent about 30 seconds telling us how you can't remember the word you're looking for, which is similar to control. And so my point is, you are a victim of hypnosis and you are a projector of hypnosis. And if you think that the United States government, in conjunction with multiple corporations, are running these quantum computers to create sentience, you, madam, I hate to tell you, but you're using your imagination as a projection of some type of evil demonic God force that is being brought into reality. And I got to tell you, you either might be right or you're absolutely wrong, and you're just repeating a memory. For example, the CERN particle accelerator. I just got to say that most of this stuff is bureaucratic scams. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars. And I think that your fears are what keep allowing this system to keep investing essentially in updating software. And so, just to bring you back to normalcy, I mean, I don't even want to ask you any questions about your situation. I just want to try to course correct what I think that what you're saying is an uninformed, uneducated, imaginative projection about essentially a fear which is really non-existent. What is really happening with these data centers, Michaela, is that TikTok, Instagram, Meta, Facebook, YouTube, Google, Microsoft, Bing is using these data centers to essentially control your brain, to deliver ads to your brain. So you get your next Procter & Gamble shampoo and your next Pfizer injection. So Michaela, I got to tell you, your fears, though they may be 100% correct, and who knows if some demonic God power is going to come out of a Microsoft lab. But I hate to tell you, Michaela, I think you're wrong.
Why is that?
Michaela, you're wrong because all communication is hypnosis. Didn't you know that? There's just these things called humans and nature, the earth and trees and birds, and you're using your imagination in the same way it's called Terminator 3. Have you seen the movie? You're just laying out the script for John Connor, Michaela. Just let it go. Just let it go and admit you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
I'm old and I can't remember words. I have to struggle for them, okay? But I've watched on Lex Friedman like 2 years ago. I can't remember his name is Jodorowsky or whatever. And then there's Connor Leahy, and then there's Max Tegman. I never watched any of those movies you're talking about, okay? Terminator. I never watched those. I'm not imagining this. They are talking about you've got to slow it down and stop the development until you technologically can figure out how to control it. Okay, that's all. And they used a word that I had never thought to use, and then it keeps slipping from me, but it basically means control. Okay? They don't know how the AI is working. They don't know how it comes to certain conclusions. And they're trying to figure out how to go backwards, and maybe in order to control it, to go backwards and see how it got there. So, but I haven't heard, now if you haven't heard any of these critics, I think that you've got some agenda. Max Tegmark is his name.
So, Joy, you are 100% for AI.
Jules, I mean, you're a former IRS, auditor, international large business. So my point is to you, you think AI is going to be used for evil. Listen, the IRS works with Palantir, and they already know everything about you through Palantir.
I know. And that's evil. That's what I'm saying.
It's not evil. Right. That's transparency. The IRS is so outdated. No. They're still running data tapes on sets from the fucking 50s and 60s.
Yes. It's transparency. Right. That's step one to using it evil. You're right. It's transparency. But let's say one controlling party of America is decides they have to beat the opposition. Let's find out everything we
Wait,
want
Jules,
to know about
you made a point about how AI can be used for counter security with regards to banks and portfolios and checkings and savings and asset security. That's what it has to be used for. And international criminal groups in Romania, in Russia, in Ukraine are filing fraudulent identity theft tax returns. The IRS sends out $30 billion a year to international criminal fraud. Why? Because they're incapable of change, incapable of actually utilizing common sense and pragmatism, because everybody at the IRS exists for their salary and their pension. They don't want shit to change. They're more than happy to sit there and have you come into an office and say, I'm going to kill myself. I got no fucking money. And they say, doesn't matter. You got to pay. Put a smile on that face.
You're saying what I'm saying. It takes time to change. And they're ripping us off, right? They're ripping us off. You're 100% right. 100% right. Money's going out of our country so fast, you can't come close to counting it. And it's all fraudulent and bullshit. And we're not even coming close.
Listen, these IRS field offices, fucking 800 of them, are nothing but shakedown offices. They're shakedown offices. Meanwhile, the IRS is sending $30 billion in fraudulent tax returns overseas. And they're taxing little Uber drivers and people just trying to survive to go to the grocery store to buy a $1.99 gallon of milk. Listen, it's a shakedown scam. And what they're doing at these field offices is really raping the population. And instead, they should be giving money out of these fucking offices.
Well, you're right. The money shouldn't be leaving the country. It should go for Americans. You're right. We are way overtaxed. We do deals with other countries. We get screwed. You're 100% right. I've been there, done that. You know what you're talking about. I agree with you. But so that my question, my theory on AI being used for evil is just, it's reinformed by listening to you talk what the IRS and what the government has done. Reinforced me.
I didn't say that the government should be in an arms race with AI. I said
it's going to be.
It's that they can't help themselves. They're not being controlled. They haven't made agreements to recognize the danger.
Because the people at that position to make the decisions are greedy, controlling motherfuckers, I hate to say it. And they're going to do what's right for them.
You did, Michaela, you did imply an arms race. So, the point is, that's the movie Age of Ultron. Michaela, you got to get up to speed here. This is a Marvel movie called Age of Ultron that you're reciting the screenplay to, or Terminator 3, when AI goes sentient, takes control of the nuclear weapons, and destroys the planet so AI can rule the humans. Okay, Michaela.
That's the only thing it can do. Or might do.
Well, the point is, AI is used for tracking assets and making targeting options. Targeting options are people you're going to kill in war and where they are using precision strike weapons. So, you know, what you have to deal with, Michaela, is what Eric was talking about and what the other speaker was talking about, is that most people are incapable of communicating clearly, utilizing English anymore. And even on this app, you will talk to people who just read scripts from ChatGPT. That's what you're dealing with, is deceptive people who can't actually be honest or transparent about their intelligence.
Well, what does that have to do with, and when I said arms race, I didn't mean of weapons. It's akin to the...
I know, but you said they're trying to create a sentient God, that they are atheists trying to create a scientific God. You're putting out a ridiculous, childish hypnosis from movies, Michaela.
No, that's my interpretation, what they're trying to create.
Okay, then define what the God is going to be when these science geniuses create it.
It's an arms race. The first one to get to AGI, they can't help themselves. If they control, if Sam Altman decides not to do that, some other company is going to do it, you know?
Oh, Sam Altman. Just keep saying Sam Altman's name as if that really even means anything. He's a guy who farts at 8 a.m, Michaela, okay?
Oh my God.
Oh my God, you're putting out fear-mongering retardation. You can't even remember words.
What's your agenda?
My agenda.
To be deceived like that so easily.
My agenda is to reverse what you're saying, and that is what brings joy to the listener. People don't agree with you, Michaela.
Oh, okay. Good for them.
Trump. Yes.
Bring me some joy.
I think, Michaela, but you should take a deep breath and be happy. And, you know, the fact that I am communicating with you and reversing what you're saying, I'm helping you become smarter. Do you listen, or do you just talk all the time? Because I can talk louder than you. I'm trying to make you smarter. If you don't want to listen, you want to project your opinions, just go for it. That's why it's a beautiful day in America. Hello. Feel the joy now. Joy now. Joy now.
Elon, Mr. Musk is going to do an amazing job for us. And RFK Jr., yes, oh yes.
I don't know, Joy, why you're getting on Michaela's case so bad, you know?
I'm just teasing her. I know she's an older lady, but if she can't, you know, if she can give a punch, she should take a fart or a breath in the air. I mean, a turd and a fart, it's just air passing over a turd.
He's saying nothing, and
listen, all communication is hypnosis. Michaela just projected a hypnosis, and now I'm projecting the counter hypnosis to her hypnosis. She doesn't like her opinion being refuted in this disrespectful manner. I'm sorry, but you know, I'm celebrating Thanksgiving over here. I'm eating turkey and drinking wine and cranberry and, you know, pudding and delicious stuffings and carrots and peas. Anyways, if you haven't tried green eggs and ham, Michaela, you should try it. You might like it.
well, you're not bringing joy to me, I'll tell you that. And, I don't think you're bringing joy to Michaela.
I know that, but I can bring you joy if you want it. But Jules, I don't hear any joy out of you. I just hear complaints and fear and anger and frustration. Where's your joy?
That's my name isn't Joy. Yours is. And you said you like to bring joy. I didn't make that statement. Maybe I should call myself realistic.
Well, you're saying I'm not bringing joy in. I'm just telling you that Michaela is not using joy in her speech. She is projecting fear, frustration, hesitation of the unknown. But the truth is, there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe. The word earth starts with ear. If you use your ear, you will experience joy. Instead, when you speak about fear and you have nothing but fear in your mind, and you tell everyone on Clown House about how disaster is coming and apocalypse is coming, well, you know what? That's the projection of fear to other people's reception. And so I'm just presenting the opposite and giving joy. I may be a real prick about it, but at least I'm logical. This is Mathematics 101, Michaela.
So give us joy. Come on, give us joy then.
Okay, fine. You want me to read you a poem?
I'm checking it out for a while.
Listen.
Yeah, I didn't realize this what this room was for. Okay, bye.
Another satisfied customer. That's what I like to call a customer of joy. See, she got the message. That's what I call the enhancement of IQ or the educational intelligent development of a person. I don't care if you're a 60-year-old woman. You can't tell me you got a higher IQ than me because you're a 60-year-old woman. Impossible. You haven't read half of the books I've read. You haven't read 1/10 of the books I've read. You haven't had 1/10 of the experiences I've had. We are back. Joy is back. Joy, bring joy back. 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 I guess it's like if you do have TDS, I mean, you're gonna get it with me. They're very strong-willed people.
I guess you left. Beautiful. It is a beautiful day in America. Thanksgiving's coming close, and I don't know. Maybe this room boomed.
Hey, Eric, how you doing?
I'm making. I'm stuffing macaroni and cheese cups and making Rice Krispie things for the homeless. And I gotta get out of here. And I'm doing it for my girlfriend. They do this. They take it around on the street and give people food. And she got a little in over her head, so I'm kind of playing cleanup with her. I gotta take this stuff to her soon. But this was a good conversation for a little while, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a good conversation. Honestly, it was a good conversation all the way to the end. Really.
What part did you like?
Well, I just like that people are challenging each other on the differences between, language and technology. You know, I think there's something to be said there.
I just think kids are motivated today. I live in New York, and nobody's passing. They're dropping tests for that show how smart you are, or how stupid you are, or how much more you have to study. And I think you gotta really be motivated, and you gotta be. Nobody's motivated anymore. Nobody passed the math regions.
Okay, Jules, respectfully, Jules, are you open to an alternate statement? Because
yes.
I have a different opinion. Okay, I really like and respect you, but I don't know where in New York you are, but what you are describing is a total untruth if you're talking about Asian immigrants, because high IQ Asian immigrants study all the time and they work hard. And so when you please let me finish. Why don't you let me finish? I'm saying,
you're stereotyping.
That's not. Yeah, but the stereotypes are true. Yeah, let me finish, Joel, because I lived in New York for many years. Okay. Let me tell. I love you so much, but I have.
Go.
I'm so sorry.
I got a lot to say.
Why don't you let me finish, Jules? Because I have something to say to you.
I will. Go.
I'm telling you something. I have some fucking terrible news. It's going to make you cry. All the stereotypes are true. The stereotypes about Asian immigrant kids being smart and hardworking, they're all true. And the stereotypes about other types of kids not studying are true. And if you go to Stuyvesant, I urge you to go fucking visit Stuyvesant or Bronx Science. You will see them. No, why are you interrupting me? I did never interrupt you. I'd let you speak for hours. Okay? You are such a good, nice guy. You're so loving. You're so nice. You're so kind. You can't allow yourself to know the truth. That's your problem, Jules. I'm done speaking.
Okay, well, Domingo, right? Let me give you this. My son graduated Stuyvesant High School. Okay? And you know when my son graduated Stuyvesant High School, it was made up.
Jules, what's up with the kid, dog?
80% Asians, like you said. Okay? So don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I just don't like stereotyping people. I think people, yes, there are.
Wait, Jules, can we get back to a higher IQ conversation, please?
No, get off, Joy. Get off.
Go.
Let me tell you something, Domingo. I agree with you. I'm not saying, I just want people to come to their full potential, you know? And like my son went to Stuyvesant High School. My son, I went crazy, happy that my son got an 800, the high score on the physics, what's it called? The physics SAT or citywide exam or whatever it's called. And when I said, wow, I am proud of you, you know what he said? My whole class got 800. All right, that's Stuyvesant High School. And it is made up mostly of Asians. What do we do? So what are they doing? They're trying to use equity. They're trying to make equity into Stuyvesant High School. Let's take a few of this race. Let's take a few more women here. Let's take a few trans here. And that's not right. Do you agree with me on that?
You know, Jules, I've listened to you patiently and friendly, and I think you have good ethics. But the truth of the matter is that you're lying to yourself, because you're lying to yourself because you're a good guy. So you want to believe that all kids have the same potential to get good grades. You don't want to believe that the Asian kids have inherently much, much, much more potential than the other kids, because it hurts your feelings. The same way you can't deal with the reality of life because you're such a nice, good guy. So you're sitting here and you're pretending that there's massive, massive, massive numbers of non-Asian kids that have the potential to perform as well as the Asians. In your brain, you know that's a lie, but your heart won't let you say it because you're a good guy.
Thank you for saying I'm a good guy, but you got me wrong. I'm saying people could reach their potential. It might not be Stuyvesant High School, but it might be making a good college, getting good grades in high school instead of flunking. You know, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody. You're talking about cultural differences. The Asians have a culture. I hate using one group, but they have a culture of studying and doing their work. Look, like I said, my son was amongst them. He did just as good as them.